Hey there, my friend. It's Brian King here. One thing I see amongst the ADHD as well as the Asperger's communities, and I'm sure you've seen this too, is this tendency to hide behind their challenges as a reason for why they don't move forward in life, or as to why they are not in fact responsible for something they were given responsibility for. Case in point, oh, I forgot to do that, but I have executive functioning challenges. Oh, the reason I didn't follow through is because my working memory is poor. Or the reason I didn't clean my room is because I'm so disorganized, therefore I should be encouraged to live in a pigsty. I should be allowed to live in a pigsty. Well, think about this in the context of adulthood. I didn't wash my dishes because, it just escaped my mind. So the fact there's mold crawling all over the counter and I never cook for myself and instead I eat junk, well, that's because of my executive functions. Give me a break. I have as many executive functioning challenges as anybody else. I could list them for you. My kids have them, and I'll be honest, my kids still hide behind them, and I'm working on that. Now let's take it a step further. Let's say you're married and you don't want to be an equal partner and you want to use your executive functions as a get out of responsibility free card. And I will be the first to admit I've screwed up and tried to pull that shit myself. Not anymore. Not going to do it anymore. And I am going to implore anybody else in the same circumstance, do not allow yourselves to make an excuse when you've actually been given an opportunity to be more resourceful. So let's say you were asked to run an errand by your spouse, and your spouse asked you to pick up a bunch of things, and you forgot to pick up those things. The reason it didn't happen isn't because you have an executive function problem. The reason it didn't happen is because you had an insufficient plan for following through. Plain and simple. Now, let's say you're out with a bunch of people and somebody else is driving, and you say, oh man, I forgot to tell my buddies here that I need to stop off someplace and pick up something for my spouse. Okay, well, I just won't say anything because I don't want to upset them. I don't want to ruin their evening. Pardon? Did you agree to something or not? If you agreed to do something for your spouse, there wasn't this unspoken condition that, unless it might inconvenience my buddies. There's no exception to that. If your buddies can't agree to that little diversion, say, take me home, I will get my own car, and I will satisfy my agreement with my spouse. If you need to remember something, write it down with as many alarms as you need in your little smart device in order to make sure you follow through. If you're not organized enough to get your space in order, sit down with somebody more organized than you, there are plenty of them out there, to create a plan that you can execute. How do you know if you can execute it? Because you test it out. You create the plan, then you say, okay, let me give this a shot. You go at it. Maybe it works beautifully. Maybe there are some hiccups. Wherever there's a hiccup, you revisit that, you polish it until you find a step that works. Let me ask you this final question. If you were given the responsibility to do something that previously you'd made an excuse for because of your executive functions, if the life of a loved one depended on you following through on that, you'd find a way to do it. Not necessarily on your own, but you very well might go up there and grab 100 random people by the shirt and say, hey, look, I'm under the gun here. I need to figure out how to do this. Do you have experience with this, and can you teach me? Something tells me you'd follow through. And don't give me this BS by saying, oh, but my friends or my loved one's person's life doesn't depend on it. Fine. Maybe your marriage depends on it. Maybe your friendship depends on it. But I'll tell you, the more you use it, the more you are at risk of losing something because you're using your executive functions as a crutch instead of an opportunity to be resourceful. There are always solutions out there. And for those who are willing to bust their ass to find them, you will make improvements in just to what degree those executive functions impact you. Are you going to be able to eliminate all of the challenges and achieve a level of perfection? Hell no. But are you going to become better, get better results than you are currently experiencing? Yes. But you've got to put your nose to the grindstone, be willing to completely own it, and go after it and do whatever it takes to create, find, and utilize the strategies that you need in order to deliver on your promises. So that's my thoughts on that. Hopefully this has been helpful. If there's anybody else you think would benefit from this, share it away. They'll be grateful to you. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate your time. This is Brian King. We'll talk again soon.